Chapter 1. Her Fatal Mistake. I never thought betrayal would come wrapped in the scent of her perfume. Rachel's phone buzzed on the marble kitchen counter, vibrating once, then twice. I wouldn't have glanced at it. After all, I had never been the jealous type. But the message preview flashed on the screen, and that changed everything. Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? For a moment I couldn't move. My fingers clenched around the edge of the counter, my knuckles whitening. This wasn't a spam text. This was real. I exhaled through my nose, steadying myself. The logical part of my brain tried to offer explanations. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was a friend being playful. Maybe. But deep down I knew. The signs had been there. The late-night work trips, the phone she kept face down, the sudden weight loss and new wardrobe. I had chalked it up to her blog taking off, her career as a travel influencer demanding more. But now, as I stared at that damning text, reality snapped into focus like a cruel joke. Rachel, my wife of 7 years, was having an affair. I inhaled deeply, forcing my body to stay still. Rage is a weapon, and I wasn't about to wield mine without precision. Carefully, I picked up the phone, swiping to unlock it. No passcode. She was careless. Her messages told me everything. Months of lies. Flights to different cities, not for work, but for him. Hotel confirmations. Love notes disguised as casual banter. A secret life hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. I read through them all. Then, without a sound, I placed the phone exactly where I found it. Rachel's betrayal had been a long con, but she had just made her first real mistake. She let me see it. And now, I had the upper hand. Chapter 2. The Calm, Calculated Revenge. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of anger. Anger was too easy, too primitive. I needed clarity. I needed control. Rachel thought she had fooled me. That she could jet off on her little business trips and return home to a husband too trusting, too blind to see what was happening. She was wrong. At 5 a.m., I sat in the dim light of my study, fingers steepled as I mapped out my plan. This wouldn't just be revenge. This would be a lesson. Step 1. Gather the evidence. The first thing I did was back up everything. I retrieved her phone when she got into the shower, quickly forwarding the messages to my own email before returning it, untouched. I accessed our shared iCloud account, pulling photos, call logs, flight itineraries. There it was. A flight booked for 2. First class. Miami. Not a business trip. A weekend getaway with him. Then I went deeper. Rachel had never been good with technology. I, on the other hand, built a career securing information for corporate executives. She never changed her passwords, never cleared her browsing history. In a matter of minutes, I uncovered hotel reservations, credit card transactions, and a second bank account. She had been planning this for months. She was funneling money away, preparing for a future without me. Step 2. Control the narrative. It wasn't enough to expose her. I needed to make sure she had nowhere to run. That morning, over coffee, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I asked about her next trip, feigned concern about her stress. She kissed me on the cheek, lied to my face about how much she would miss me, and waltzed out the door. The moment she left, I went to work. First, I froze our joint accounts. I rerouted my direct deposits, making sure every penny of my income was protected. I canceled our shared credit cards, ensuring she couldn't spend another dime of my money on her little fantasy. Then, I made a visit to our attorney. A divorce was already in motion, but she wouldn't know that yet. Step 3. The perfect trap. That night, Rachel returned home to a man who was still playing the fool. She laughed over dinner, sipping her wine, oblivious to the fact that I had already taken her life apart piece by piece. "You work too much, babe," she teased. "Maybe you should take some time off." I almost laughed. I was already on vacation. From her. She had no idea that when she boarded that plane to Miami, She would never come back to the same life. Chapter 3. Building the Case. The FBI gets involved. Rachel still thought she was untouchable, that she was slipping through the cracks, weaving a careful web of lies while I remained blissfully ignorant. But she had underestimated me. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel as I watched the entrance to the Grandstone Hotel, one of the most expensive five-star resorts in the city. Rachel had no idea I was watching. She had booked a suite here under her lover's name, thinking that would cover her tracks. Too bad she forgot who handled all our finances. For weeks I had been collecting everything. Her expenses, her secret accounts, her trips with this man, hotel bills, flight records, credit card statements, each one a brick in the wall I was building against her. But it wasn't enough to just catch her in the act. I needed legal firepower to make sure she faced real consequences. That's when I called Special Agent Marcus Holloway from the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Rachel thought her little affair was just a personal betrayal, but she had crossed a bigger line: money laundering and fraud. She had used our joint business account to funnel money into her secret life, paying for extravagant getaways, expensive gifts, and a man who was living off my hard work. I had the receipts to prove it. And the FBI? They loved cases like this. "She doesn't just owe you an explanation," Holloway had said over the phone. "She owes the government a damn good one, too." Now, as I sat outside the hotel, I saw her. Rachel stepped out of the lobby, wearing the same red dress she had worn on our anniversary last year. That dress had once been for me. Now, it was for him. She laughed as she linked arms with a man I now knew as Daniel Carrington, a so-called business consultant who had a criminal history of fraud and identity theft. Rachel wasn't just cheating on me. She was in bed with a con artist. Perfect. I snapped a few photos from my car, time-stamped and geotagged. Holloway had warned me, "Don't confront her yet. Let us do our job." And I would. I wasn't here to make a scene. I was here to watch her world collapse. I opened my laptop and uploaded everything into a shared folder for the FBI. Bank transfers, falsified expense reports, her business trips that were nothing but elaborate cover-ups for their secret rendezvous. Holloway had been right. This wasn't just adultery. It was criminal. Rachel thought she was getting away with it. She had no idea her days were numbered. Chapter 4. Her Return. The beginning of her own destruction. Rachel walked through the front door with the same confidence she had always carried, dragging her designer suitcase behind her. The scent of expensive perfume trailed in after her, mixing with the familiar scent of our home. The one I had built, paid for, and protected while she played her games. She was home early. That wasn't part of the plan. "Miss me?" she asked, flashing a grin, her sunglasses perched arrogantly on her head. She tossed her coat over the back of the couch, then gave me a slow, assessing look, as if expecting me to rush into her arms, relieved to have her back. I kept my expression blank. "Didn't expect you home today," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Thought you weren't back until the weekend." She shrugged. "Plans changed. Got bored." She tilted her head, scrutinizing me, probably noticing that something was different. I had spent weeks preparing for this moment, making sure every single move was calculated. The trap was set. "That so?" I said, standing up. "A lot's changed while you were gone." Her smile faltered, just slightly. "Like what?" I motioned toward the kitchen. "Sit. We need to talk." She hesitated but walked over, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood floor. I poured her a glass of wine, her favorite, expensive, imported. She had no idea it was a farewell drink. She sipped it casually. "What's this about?" I slid a folder across the table. "Go ahead. Open it." Rachel frowned, setting down her glass before flipping it open. The color drained from her face. Inside was a collection of damning evidence, screenshots of her text messages, bank statements showing thousands of dollars in unexplained charges, hotel receipts, even a few surveillance photos of her and her lover, tangled in a cozy, intimate embrace. Her fingers trembled slightly as she turned the pages, her carefully curated mask slipping. Where did you get these? I had some help, I said, keeping my voice steady. Turns out when your spouse is siphoning off money, sleeping in hotels meant for two, and using credit cards tied to a joint account, it leaves a trail, a very clear one. She swallowed hard. Ethan, Don't, I interrupted, my voice sharp. Don't insult me with excuses. I know everything, every detail, every lie, every betrayal. Silence hung between us, thick and suffocating. Then she did what I had expected her to do. She switched tactics. She forced a laugh, shaking her head. All right, you got me. But come on, Ethan. We can fix this. You're overreacting. People make mistakes. I let out a slow breath, shaking my head. No, Rachel. You didn't make a mistake. You made choices, over and over again. And now you're going to face the consequences. Her eyes flickered with something new. Fear. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away before she could touch me. I wasn't hers to manipulate anymore. What are you going to do? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I leaned forward. I already did it. A knock at the door made her flinch. Rachel turned toward the sound, her breathing quickening. Who's that? I smiled. You'll see. I walked to the door and opened it, revealing two uniformed officers standing on my porch. Rachel Carter, one of them said, stepping inside. We have a warrant for your arrest. She shot up from the chair, her wine glass shattering on the floor. What? What the hell is this? I folded my arms. Bank fraud, identity theft, tax evasion. Turns out your little scheme involved more than just breaking my trust. It broke several federal laws. Rachel spun toward me, her face contorted in rage and desperation. You did this to me? I met her gaze, cold and steady. No, Rachel. You did this to yourself. The officers moved in, pulling out a pair of handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent, Rachel screamed as they clasped the cuffs around her wrists, her world crashing down in an instant. I stepped aside, watching as they led her toward the door, her designer suitcase abandoned by the couch. She turned one last time, her voice raw with anger. You'll regret this, Ethan. I swear to God you'll... The door shut behind her before she could finish. And then, for the first time in a long time, silence filled the house. I exhaled slowly, the weight of years of betrayal lifting from my shoulders. Rachel was gone, and I was finally free. Chapter 5. The arrest, her world collapses. Rachel stepped through the front door, the same smugness still etched on her face. She had no idea that everything was about to come crashing down. She dropped her designer handbag onto the kitchen counter, her fingers already pulling at the buttons of her coat. I'm exhausted, she sighed dramatically. Flights were delayed. The hotel was a nightmare. I need a drink. I leaned against the living room doorway, arms crossed. Tough trip? My voice was calm, too calm. She barely glanced at me, shrugging. You wouldn't believe the hassle I had to go through just to get back home. I let the silence stretch, let her dig her own grave a little deeper. Then, as if just remembering something, she asked, Oh, by the way, have you checked the mail? I'm expecting a package. A package? That was rich. Yeah, I said, stepping aside. You got something all right. The moment she turned, she froze. Two men in dark suits stood by the door. One of them, a federal agent, held a warrant in his hands. The other, a uniformed officer, rested his palm on the holster at his hip. Rachel blinked. Her lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time in years, she was speechless. The lead agent, Keller, took a step forward. Rachel Carter, you're under arrest for credit card fraud, identity theft, and wire fraud. Her gaze snapped to me, her eyes wide with confusion. What is this? I stepped forward, lowering my voice just enough so only she could hear. It's called justice. Rachel shook her head, her face a mixture of panic and disbelief. No, this is a mistake. I haven't done anything wrong. Agent Keller didn't even flinch. You used stolen financial information to book luxury trips, withdraw large sums of money, and make unauthorized purchases. He pulled out a file, flipping it open. We have evidence tying you directly to fraudulent transactions across multiple states. The purchases alone total over $250,000. Rachel's face drained of color. Her carefully crafted world, her lies, her manipulation, was crumbling before her eyes. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. This isn't real. Her voice wavered. She took a step back, then turned to me, desperation creeping into her expression. You have to help me. Tell them this is a mistake. I stared at her, unblinking. The only mistake was thinking you could get away with it. Rachel lurched toward me, but before she could say another word, the officer stepped in. Turn around. Hands behind your back. She gasped as the cold clink of handcuffs locked around her wrists. Please, you don't understand. Oh, we understand just fine, Keller replied. He nodded to the officer. Let's go. As they escorted her out, she turned one last time, her voice cracking. How could you do this to me? I exhaled, watching as they loaded her into the waiting squad car. How could I not? With that, the door shut, and for the first time in years, the house finally felt like mine again. Chapter 6. The Consequences. Rachel's world crumbles. Rachel sat in the cold, sterile interrogation room, her wrists bound by the weight of steel handcuffs. She had always carried herself with a certain untouchable elegance, shoulders back, chin high, but now that poise was shattered. Her once pristine designer blouse was wrinkled, her expensive heels scuffed from the struggle when the FBI took her in. Across from her sat Agent Calloway, a seasoned investigator who had seen every kind of liar and fraudster in his 20 years of service. He didn't rush. He didn't need to. He simply placed a manila folder on the table, flipping it open to reveal stacks of documents. Rachel swallowed hard. She wasn't stupid. She knew what those papers meant. Evidence. Rachel Sullivan, Calloway said, his voice calm yet heavy with authority. You're facing multiple charges, including wire fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy to commit fraud. And that's just the start. Rachel's lips parted slightly, a faint tremor betraying her attempt at composure. This is a mistake. Calloway leaned back, tapping one of the documents. Then explain why your personal and business accounts show large sums of money being funneled into an offshore account, one linked to your so-called business partner, Darren Cole. Her stomach twisted at the name. Darren. The man she had risked everything for. The man who had promised her a new life, a future built on luxury and adventure. But Darren wasn't in this interrogation room with her. He wasn't in handcuffs. He had vanished the moment the authorities started closing in. She was alone. Rachel shook her head. No, I didn't. Calloway cut her off. Save it. Your husband already turned over all the evidence. Bank transfers, hidden properties, even those little secret getaways you and Darren took using stolen company funds. We have it all. The mention of her husband, Ethan, made her chest tighten. Ethan. The man she had underestimated, betrayed, discarded like he was nothing. The man who had been one step ahead of her this entire time. Her voice cracked. Where is he? Calloway let out a low chuckle. Oh, he's doing just fine. In fact, last I checked, he's enjoying life quite a bit these days. Turns out he's a smart man. Smarter than you gave him credit for. Rachel clenched her fists. She had spent years crafting her perfect image. The successful entrepreneur, the woman who had it all. But now, it was slipping through her fingers like sand. She had traded stability for thrill. She had gambled her marriage for a fleeting affair. And she had lost everything. The door opened. Another officer entered, nodding to Calloway. She's being transferred. Rachel's throat went dry. Transferred? Calloway smiled. "Welcome to reality, Mrs. Sullivan. You're not walking away from this one." As the officers led her away, Rachel's vision blurred. Ethan had won, and she had destroyed herself. Chapter 7. True Freedom. 550 words. The day the divorce was finalized, I expected to feel relief. Instead, I felt something deeper, an unshackling as if I had been dragging a weight for years without realizing it. Rachel had always been the charming one, the one with the bright smile and the effortless ability to twist words into something beautiful, something believable. It was how she had kept her secret life hidden for so long. But charm only gets you so far when the truth is written in legal documents. The judge's ruling had been swift. All assets in my name remained mine. Her attempts to claim half of everything had crumbled under the weight of the evidence I had gathered, the financial records, the emails, the proof of her infidelity. She had tried to play the victim, her crocodile tears pooling in the courtroom. But reality doesn't bend to manipulation. Not anymore. That night, I sat in the house that was now solely mine, drinking a glass of whiskey, watching the city lights through the large bay window. I should have been celebrating. But something gnawed at me. Rachel had destroyed everything we had, yet somehow she still thought she had won. She walked away thinking she could rebuild, that she could land on her feet. That's what she didn't understand. She hadn't just lost the house, the money, the security. She had lost me, and I was the only thing keeping her from falling face first into the consequences of her own selfishness. A month after the divorce, I heard the first whispers. Rachel was struggling. Her once popular travel blog was drowning in backlash after the truth about her affair had slipped into the public eye. It turns out, people don't like cheaters, especially when they've built a brand around honesty and adventure. Sponsorships pulled out. Advertisers cut ties. She had always lived off the illusion of wealth, spending money as if it would always be there. Now, with no savings, no stability, and no me to clean up her messes, reality hit hard. I didn't reach out. I didn't gloat. That's the thing about karma. You don't have to force it. It just happens. One evening, as I locked up my office, my phone buzzed with a notification, a voicemail from Rachel. I hesitated before pressing play. Her voice was small, unrecognizable from the confident woman I once knew. I messed up. I know that now. I don't know where to go from here. Can we talk? I let the message play until it ended. Then I deleted it. She was someone else's problem now. As I stepped outside, the night air was crisp, the city humming with life. I breathed it in, letting the past fade behind me. For the first time in years, I was truly free, and I wasn't looking back. Life lesson for 2025: know your worth and protect it. In a world that moves faster than ever, one thing remains constant. Self-respect and personal integrity are priceless. The story of betrayal and redemption teaches us that we must pay attention to the warning signs, trust our instincts, and never allow someone else to dictate our worth. In 2025, protecting ourselves isn't just about financial security. It's about emotional resilience, standing up for what we deserve, and walking away from what no longer serves us. True freedom comes not from revenge, but from reclaiming our power and choosing a life of peace over toxicity. Let this be a reminder: you are stronger than you think, and every ending is a chance for a new beginning. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more gripping, real-life tales that inspire, empower, and remind us of what truly matters. Your story isn't over yet. Make it one worth telling. Fire sparks,